Nagaland, who was suggesting that the investigation is in a very initial stage for them to be commenting on this. But let's take a look at the next breaking input that we are getting on this report.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, the violence in Manipur continues to be our top focus here on The Right Stand, and we've been continuously tracking this story, which could have serious repercussions for Bharat at large. Not just for the ethnic groups in Manipur, but is there a bigger, larger game at play? Now, what we've witnessed in Imphal is also worrying through the day, ladies and gentlemen, with protests increasingly turning violent and patients on the edge on both sides. The state government, meanwhile, has banned mobile internet, broadband and VPNs for 5 days across the state. The state administration has said that it was an attempt to thwart the design and activities of anti-national and anti-social elements and to maintain peace and communal harmony. Earlier on in the day, an indefinite curfew was also imposed in both the Imphal districts. But what we are about to show you here on The Right Stand is a dangerous design by both China and the West to establish their dominance, in this region, in Asia. Here on The Right Stand, we reported what intel sources told us very clearly, that the cookies are being empowered by outside forces under the garb of religion first, and then they are being used to create a separate state with areas of Manipur, Mizoram and the entire erstwhile Kuki-Chin region in Myanmar, and also certain portions of Bangladesh like Chittagong. Now, that is a West plot, which former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had also hinted at. But China is also using different borders to create tensions in Bharat and destabilize our nation. The Communist Party of Burma, or the CPB, these militants are actually extending their dominion beyond the Salaween River. CPB splinters have been able to cross the Salaween and now are on the gates of the historic city of Mandalay in Myanmar. Now, meanwhile, the West has also decided to increase their support for the Kuki-Chin Zo militants, which now control the Chin province of Myanmar in their quest of Kuki land. China and the West are trying to divide Myanmar into their respective spheres of influence and also seize control of this entire South Asia region. The plot is further emboldened with the fall of the Sheikh Hasina regime. Worse is actually expected for Manipur. Is Bharat wise to this is a big question. Now, here's more from our Security Affairs editor Manoj Kumar Gupta. The recovery of trails of sophisticated rockets. Tales of sophisticated rockets from Manipur after recent drone and high-tech missile attacks has actually led to serious questions about the availability of weapons from Myanmar, working of the state police and security forces, and new insurgent groups from Bangladesh, according to top intelligence sources. Sources have said that drones were sighted in November 2023 when the airport airspace reported drones and 2 Indigo flights were diverted and 1 flight took off after 3-hour delay. The biggest problem, which can't be ruled out, is that these Kuki groups are known for using long-range weapons procured, sourced from China, Pakistan or Korea. This is what sources have said. Serious concerns about the role of Assam Rifles had been raised in May 2023 when they blocked the police vehicle as riots broke out and free run was given to the Kukis. Almost 5,000 to 6,000 cadre of retired Assam Rifles are currently ready to join Kuki groups. That's what intel sources are saying, and this is a serious concern, ladies and gentlemen, because if our forces start taking sides based on their ethnicity and their reliance or their preferences, we have a serious problem. On 29th of April this year, the Assam Rifles acted on specific intelligence and recovered war weapons from Mon districts of Nagaland, which is close to Myanmar. These weapons included mortar, satellite phones, pistols and tubes, among others. The use of drones and missiles suggest that warlike stores are available to Kuki-Zo militants and uninterrupted supplies are coming in from Myanmar border. These groups have got training possibly from Myanmar Kuki-Chin because training of making these weapons is quite sophisticated and needs experts. Also, firing these missiles also requires specialized training because you need to assess the trajectory and calculate wind speed, and it's not just aim and shoot kind of drill. That's what intel sources are telling us. Now, as per another exclusive input, The Assam Rifles has been replaced by the Central Reserve Police Force CRPF in Imphal, and top CRPF officials have already reached Manipur. Government has sent senior CRPF officials to Manipur and all are stationed in Imphal. This is a priority according to top government sources. The Assam Rifles have been withdrawn after recent controversy. Government sources are saying that CRPF is better equipped at handling all conflict zones across the country. The Manipur police had earlier also registered a case against the Assam Rifles following an incident in which Kuki militants allegedly managed to flee. Around 2,000 CRPF are replacing an almost equal number of Assam Rifles troops in Manipur currently. But where is this replacement and is this enough? What is going on? Let's try and call back that map also and understand this entire region. Manipur, we should not look at it from the current geographical boundaries. We have to look at it from the historical boundaries where these boundaries didn't exist. There were different lands and these tribes, these ethnicities have spread far down up to Mandalay, down Myanmar, and where that cut is happening. Can we call this up here on the screen and then we'll try and understand this. Divya Kumar Soti is with us and we also have Anand Ranganathan joining us. Divya Kumar Soti, we are quoting some of the observations that you yourself had made, and it's important that this Salaween River, now on this side, if the Chinese are trying to exercise control, if the West is trying to influence this area, are we now looking at a fractured region, this one, which has strife and also hegemonistic entities exercising their control, ethnicities being used, ethnic background, religion being used to try and divide this area, and Manipur, Bangladesh, this region gets carved out, not by the present day international boundaries, but by past lines or historic lines. Divya Kumar Soti.
Yes, thank you. Actually, this is India's wild east frontier. So it is more wild than Afghanistan in some senses because there are, tens and tens of ethnic militias which are operating in this region, and this is also known as Golden Triangle for its poppy cultivation. Actually, it has a very, historical background which goes back to the time when China was took over by Communist Party. So at that time when Mao's forces routed Kuomintang and those forces entered Myanmar through Sino-Myanmar frontier, and at that time CIA launched an clandestine operation which is known as Operation Paper, and that was to organize resistance against Mao's forces using northern Myanmar as operational base. And for that purpose, to finance that operation, poppy cultivation was started in at a large scale in this area. Now that did not succeed. Thereafter, Mao's regime launched Communist Party of Burma, and that Communist Party of Burma took over territories through armed struggle up to the river Salaween. Thereafter, after Mao's death and Deng Xiaoping came to power, he had a geo-economic agenda. So he asked CPB leaders to wind up their shop. But they did not obey Beijing. So a forced dismemberment of Communist Party of Burma was brought about by Chinese intelligence. So multiple splinter groups emerged from that. But with a long-term point of view, China, though it dismantled Communist Party of Burma, but it continued to arm and nurture these splinter groups. And today, some of these are world's largest non-state actor militias, armed groups which operate along the Sino-Myanmar frontier. Now what has happened is that since Myanmar's military regime has taken over, Americans have put up sanctions against them, and their economy has been crippled. There are arms embargoes. So thereafter American intelligence sponsored these pro-democracy protests, and thereafter there is another player emerged in Myanmar, which is national unity government, so-called pro-democratic forces, but they also have militias.
Right.
So this is a group of militias led by People's Defense Forces Myanmar, and they have in their alliance these many Christian groups like Kuki. There are many Kuki militant groups which have taken over the Chin state, Chin province bordering Manipur, and these Kuki militant groups aim to create a greater Kuki nation or Kuki land or Zalingam, whatever name you want to use it, by liberating areas of Manipur, Mizoram, Chin state of Myanmar, and certain areas of Bangladesh. This is something what Sheikh Hasina had hinted about before she was overthrown.
Right. Right.
And 24 of these militant groups, Kuki militant groups, are presently in suspension of operation agreement with the government of India since 2008.
Right. So, but are they being reactivated is one aspect, and were we not wise enough, or were we not watching what is going on over the last year and a half after 4 to 5 years of peace? Dr. Anand Ranganathan, some serious concerns for us. As Divyakumar Soti puts it, this is the wild, wild east, and it's worse than what we've seen in the wild, wild west.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my very good friend Divya. It's great to have him here, and I also went through his tweet. Absolutely stirring information, I have to say, rather worrying. But if I may, I would like to take a marked departure from what Divya has said, and all of what he said is absolutely important, and I agree with what he said. And the reason for my marked departure is very simple. I'm applying again Occam's as well as Anderson-Fraser. Should I blame China? Should I blame Myanmar? Should I blame the current military propped up regime in Bangladesh? Should I blame Pakistan? And the answer is, should you blame the enemy? What is the role of the enemy? The role of the enemy is to destroy you. I mean, that's their first preamble. So we have to go by that. I will concentrate for the next couple of minutes, if you please, Anand, on what we should have done and what we haven't done and what we continue to not do, because I think that is very important. What China does is not in our hands. And judging by what China has done historically over the last, in fact, if you go back to even 2020, it is out of our hands what they've done. So we can't control it. What we can control is the following. Now, these so-called seven sisters, each state has had its bloody history, its history of strife, its history of where India has courageously, valorously managed to keep that territory in India. And you don't even have to talk about Arunachal Pradesh, which is currently disputed because Chinese want it. You talk about Assam, you talk about Nagaland, you talk about Mizoram, and I've written a book that surrounds the Mizo National Front, and the only time Indian Air Force bombed its own people was actually 1966 under the Congress, when Aizawl was bombed by IAF. Now, every peace that has been accepted, that has been fructified, is tenuous to say the least. What is the situation in Manipur right now? Is it China's doing? I'm afraid the answer is no, Anand. Let me give you a brief contemporary history, just a minute. In 2013, of course, the enemy's role is to exploit the division and the inaction of the person who the enemy considers an enemy. Now, this division has been sown by us, not by China. In 2013, the then Congress government at the center, UPA, asked the then Congress government in Manipur to at least bring out a white paper and decide about whether the Maitis should be given as ST status, because they've been demanding it since independence. Nobody acted. The governments at the center and at the state changed to BJP. They asked the same. Nobody acted. 2 years ago, the High Court asked the same. The High Court did not direct anything else other than asking for a white paper and where does the state government stand. Nobody acted, but the people, the parties in dispute, they acted. And that is the reason for this strife, which is what is being exploited. And the tragedy is, at the risk of facing another contempt of court because the judge is the same.
Right.
The High Court redacted. The High Court redacted its order. Can you imagine this happening in an independent, democratic, civilized country like India? Such is the scare running around executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. What to talk of media? So I'm sorry, Anand, much as I absolutely admire Divya's factual recount, and much as I admire you and your story, I'm afraid the fault is ours and ours alone.
See, we can always say that the fault is ours because we didn't do anything. For a long time, nearly 6 decades, this region was blanked out from the national cognizance, blanked out from spotlight, blanked out from the headlines, and it was only seen as a place where there is always some strife. Nobody got into the reason why. Nobody said, let's own up this place and ensure that it is fully integrated with the rest of Bharat so that there is no sense of alienation and no free run for A, radicals, B, this entire missionary and conversion gang, and 3, this entire drug market and this drug racket. Along with, of course, the enemy's machinations or the adversary's machinations. They may not have any animosity with Bharat. Their thing is they want to fulfill their strategic objectives. The Walong corridor, Divya Kumar Soti, is perhaps important for the Chinese. In Arunachal Pradesh, they want to secure that region because they want to protect their Belt and Road and they want access to all of South China, all the way down till the South China Sea and also into those waters. The Americans want to create an air base so that they can train their guns not just at the Chinese but also at the Russians, and also this entire region can be mapped by them because this is one place in the Bay of Bengal where they don't have a presence. Now this is their objective. But we as a nation have to wake up to these challenges. Are we so not bothered about our sovereignty, about our integrity? What's the solution now? Or have things gone beyond repair?
No, things never go beyond repair. There is always a solution, but we need to be honest and we need to be vigilant about what is going on. I will continue to, take liberty of sticking to the geopolitical and security part of it. I was talking about suspension of operation agreement with these kooky groups. Now, what has happened? What is suspension of operation? This is a time-tested instrument used by the Indian state to pacify insurgencies in Northeast. These have been, affected with Naga insurgent groups. They were placed in camps under the monitoring of central forces, and they are there for decades now. And peace has held itself.
Right.
But why it is not succeeding in case of kooky militant groups? This is what we need to understand. What has happened is that since neighboring Chin province has been taken over by these kooky militant groups, and they have some sort of covert support from the Western countries, so they are very emboldened and they want to create this kooky land by combining Manipur and Mizo territories and some tracts of Bangladesh, so that it can be one day used against China if someday a big clash happens between US and China.
Right.
So they are very emboldened. But now we have not implemented the SOO conditions. They are supposed to lock down their weapons and live inside the camps and do not indulge in any kind of armed activities. But in this case, that has not happened. It is an irony. They are getting 2,200 kooky militants are getting 6,000 per month stipend from the government and living in these camps. But that has not stopped them from venturing out of these camps, carrying terrorist attacks on civilians and on our armed forces, and then rushing back to take refuge in these very camps under the protection of our armed forces. So that is the one problem there. Secondly, as Anand talked about insurgencies in Northeast. One thing what we miss is that historically most of the northeastern insurgent groups, they drew all the arms and finances from China.
Right.
for whatever reasons, because that is the nearest source of funding and arms you can get in Northeast if you have to fight India.
Right.
So most of them are historically Maoist groups. You take Ulfa or NSPN or whatever. They are by ideology, they are a queer mixture of Maoism and in some cases Maoism and Christianity. So that is very ironic, but that is what it is.
Right.
So now when Indian government is seen by Meitei community as being soft towards spooky terrorist groups, SO groups, there is a distinct possibility that Meitei Maoist insurgent groups re-emerge and situation gets even more out of control.
Got it.
Because China will exploit that opportunity.
So you are saying that now this is a tightrope and we need to negotiate this very, very quickly and we need to move in fast. Now there are others like the former Army Chief General Ved Malik and also others within the security establishment, defense establishment. High time that there is President's rule. Manipur is brought under the centre's aegis and central administration for the next 2 to 3 years before this entire insurgency and this entire thing is weeded out right from the grassroots, and this entire drug poppy cultivation which is happening in the hills is done away with. Sadly, what happens is this drug economy reportedly 60,000 crore, whereas Manipur's official budget is 35,000 crore. So they are already working at double the capacity, and so they've got the wherewithal and the resources plus the training that comes at hand. Now that is something which we really need to work on. So multiple challenges. Let's hope that it's being addressed like yesterday and not for tomorrow. Divykumar Soti, Anand Ranganathan have to move on. Okay, 30 seconds. Anand Ranganathan, 30 seconds. Yes.
Yes, there's one critical question that I don't know why no one's asking. It is that in the past few months, the Prime Minister has visited each and every state in the Northeast, including Arunachal, including Nagaland. But for the last 2 years, he has not visited Manipur. Nobody is asking him why. I don't understand. I need an answer. Why is the Prime Minister not, landing in Manipur? There must be a reason.
Right. Absolutely, I agree.
I want to make one concluding remark.
Ji.
What I advocate as a solution is putting Manipur under President rule and carry out an operation in the nature of Operation Woodrose, which was once carried out in Punjab during Khalistan insurgency, where various armed insurgent groups were forcibly disarmed by army.
Correct. We need to get into that kind of a hard action, is what you're saying. Operation Woodrose, something similar to that has to be exercised. And there are many within Bharat security establishment thinkers who are inclined to this. Let's see what happens. Divykumar Soti, thank you very, very much. Dr. Ranganathan, please stay on with us. We move on here on The Right Stand, and we are hoping that we should have one of the newsmakers of the day with us very soon. But first, after Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, also the leader of opposition, on Tuesday stirred massive controversy with his remark on the state of religious freedom in Bharat, citing the example of Sikhs. During an event in the United States, the BJP has slammed the former for setting a dangerous narrative on foreign soil. Union Minister Hardeep Puri said, Rahul Gandhi, he speaks without knowing the facts. There are some sensitive issues which include our unity and diversity, which has a dangerous narrative. He reprimanded the Congress leader for remarks on Sikhs in Bharat and claimed that the community was scared of wearing turban and kala during the 1984 riots. Actually, the massacre of Sikhs, not even a riot, it was a pogrom against Sikhs under the Congress regime. Addressing the members of the Indian diaspora in Virginia, Rahul Gandhi had said that the fight in Bharat is about whether a person as a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear a turban in India and would be able to visit a Gurudwara.
As a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear his turban in India. He as a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear a kala in India. He as a Sikh is going to be able to go to Gurudwara. That's what the fight is about. And not just for him, for all religions.
Maybe he's got inspiration from that intellectual professor, Pitroda, who's now into sociology, ethnicity, etc. I don't know. But he's not a misled young man. He is trying to create problems.
जो बात वो विदेश में कह रहे हैं सिखों लेकर हिंदुस्तान में कहें और मैं उनके खिलाफ मुकदमा करूंगा.
Let's go across to Ramneek Singh Maan and Dr. Anand Ranganathan, who are with us. Your thoughts on what Rahul Gandhi said, Ramneek Maan?
Pathetic to begin with. Well, see, the leader of opposition seems to be the leader of division. Well, he's tried to divide India in every aspect, every way possible, whether it is on the, on the basis of caste, whether it's on the basis of state, whether it's on the basis of language, now religion. And to be very honest, Anand, when you ask whether a Sikh will be allowed to wear a turban, wear a kada or not, Anand Ranganathan has met me several times. We've come across each other. This is my kada. This is my turban. This is my kirpan, my sirisa. I wear my case. I fly in the domestic airlines, and the CISF never troubles me. They just touch and say, "Ki ji, aapka kirpan hai, siri saab hai, hanji siri saab hai," and that's it. End of it. So where does this come from to begin with? I need to understand. Why did Rahul Gandhi at all have to bring this up? Well, he had to bring this up because he had to give some fodder to people who are setting an anti-India narrative. So it is his way of doing things, and then the ecosystem that there exists, or the toolkit gang will start propagating whatever he says. Now, as far as I am concerned, as a Sikh, let me tell you this, Anand, both Anand, that there was a time in India when Sikhs were very afraid and scared of wearing their identity, the turban, the case, their beard, the kada, the siri saab, the kirpan. That was 1984. And who was the Prime Minister then? His father. And has he admitted to it? Yes. The Prime Minister of India then, Rajiv Gandhi, said that जब एक बड़ा पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती हिलती है, और जब धरती हिलती है तो 5-6 हजार सिख मारे जाते हैं, और कौन मारता है उनको? The leaders of Congress party. And what do we do with them? Do they get justice? Do they are brought to book? No. They are awarded, they are rewarded. Latest, Kamal Nath was made the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. Prior to him, Sajjan Kumar was given Rajya Sabha, he was given Lok Sabha tickets by the Congress party. And again, Jagdish Taitla was Minister of Foreign Affairs of this country. I mean, that is how the Congress party has been rewarding the people who have their hands stained with the blood of Sikhs. And what had happened really was, he talks about whether you can wear a turban, whether you can wear a kada or not. Yes, your party when was in power, आपने सिखों के गलों में टायर डाल के आधे जलाए. And I can give you eyewitness accounts. Anand Ranganathan will vouch for it if he was in Delhi in those years. You know what happened? Aadhi jali हुई लाशें, burnt bodies of Sikhs were being eaten by dogs on the street of Delhi. This is what Congress party stands for. And he talks about Sikhs, whether they're free or not. Yes, we are free, absolutely free. Nobody can doubt about our freedom. And we've never faced any discrimination. Let me be very clear about it. If there is a discrimination that exists, it is in his mind, or in the mind of people who want to propagate some kind of a hatred, some kind of a division amongst Hindus and Sikhs, amongst the majority population and the minority population in this country. So let them try and propagate whatever they propagate. I stand for unity. I stand for this. Let me be very clear about it. And as an Amarta Arikor Sikh, I can vouch for it, whether it's an airport, whether it's on the road, whether it's on the government offices, anywhere. I've never faced discrimination. The only way you can address a Sikh is a Sardar Ji. It's with a suffix G. That is something, our community has earned over the years. And someone like Rahul Gandhi on your screen cannot change that, sir.
No, it won't change, sir, because it comes from the heart. It is meant. And people of all faith, all walks of life walk into a Gurdwara to find solace, to find peace, and with respect, they pay their respect to Guru Granth Sahib there inside any Gurdwara. So there is a lot, but somewhere that one can say on this, but somewhere, Dr. Ranganathan, Did Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he said he did something similar in Cambridge when he was in the UK. He had done something similar. There was one Sikh gentleman in the audience and he pointed to him. He's done something similar in the US. Now, is he trying to say that this kind of religious freedom is at stake? Or is he trying to say currently there is no such freedom?
Very, very quickly, 2 points. First of all, I agree with each and everything that my brother Ramneek ji has said. And it's terrible what he's had to hear all through this day. I mean, but to come to the thrust of the topic, Anand, let me be very blunt. Rahul Gandhi has started to indulge in what can only be described as pure psychopathy. There is no other word to describe this. And there is a reason why he's doing this. You know that. Because he travels with an entourage of friendly media. He is the person who calls every other media or media outlet that dares to ask him uncomfortable questions. Either they are banned like you are, or they're called pliant like ANI is, or they are ridiculed in front of other members, or they're actually, the worst case scenario which actually happened, they're beaten up, which is what happened when somebody was called out. So there is zero accountability. Please remember this. He can get away by saying whatever he wants. Now, he can say whatever he wants. Nobody gives a toss as to whether it makes sense or not. But the point is, he is now deliberately stoking a division. And he has to be called out, and he has to be, I'm glad Mr. Puri, Ambassador Puri has called him out, because the government needs to call him out. We've been calling him out, Manji has been calling him out for years. It has no effect, it's water off a duck's back. The point is, he is deliberately sowing this. I'll tell you why. He is trying to divide the Hindus and the Sikhs. He tried this with Hindus and Muslims. Now he's trying with Hindus and Sikhs, because he's already identified this government as Hindutvavadis, Hindus. And now he's bringing this absolutely ridiculous, patently false statement which bears no grounding. He's bringing it because he wants to sow a division. He doesn't realize that this psychopathy is not going to wash, because if ever there was a community that was born out of dharma and has protected and saved the dharma, it is the Sikhs. They are the ones who upheld dharma, Anand. If you only were to read the last 1,000 years and you to realize our gurus, they're not just Ramneek's gurus, they're my gurus, they're your gurus. As somebody said, if you were to remove Hinduism from Guru Granth Sahib, only the book spine will be left. What does Harmandir Sahib mean? Whose temple it is? They are not just my brothers, they are my blood. And he's trying to sow this division. He has to be called out, and he has to be called out now.
The other question, Ramneek Man, you want to say something internally is one part, but when you represent the country abroad, is there not a responsibility of what you're saying, how you're saying? Will you be so devoid of facts? 27 crore Muslims, Sikhs, 2.3 to 2.5 crore Sikhs in our country who are not even seen as minority. Sikhs don't even use the minority card. They don't even look at the minority, claim minority benefits. A 27 crore population keeps fighting for minority rights, etc. 2.5 crore Sikhs, more than 60,000 Parsis. Jains, none of them fight for this entire minority card, have they? And they've never been able, made to feel like minorities. Then why would he not go ahead and talk about this record of Bharat, irrespective of which side of the political divide he is? Why would he go out and paint a picture sitting in a nation which is orchestrating and harboring the likes of Gurupatwan Panu?
That's why he's doing it.
Well, okay, so Anand, it's an orchestrated campaign against the country, against the nation, to be very honest, number one. Number two, when you say he should speak responsibly, responsible, and Rahul Gandhi in the same sentence will be an oxymoron, to be honest with. Now, third, when you say, Sikhs claim to be minorities, no, we do not. But are they required? Is a certain section of Sikhs who require benefits? Yes, they do. But then again, there's a whole debate on reservations for poor or reservations for the minorities or reservation for a subcaste or a caste. But when you look at the politics, what Rahul Gandhi stands for, he stands for dividing the society, whether it is in the name of religion, whether it is in the name of caste, whether it's in the name of states, or whether it's in the name
Ramnik
of
Maan,
language.
who played the card of Dalit Sikh versus Jat Sikh?
Well, it was him.
With Chani? With Charanjit
Well, it
Chani?
was him. 100% it was him. Well, you see, Rahul Gandhi has been, his trademark has been division. Well, the Congress spokesperson will come and say, he speaks out of constitution that, the India is a union of states. But when you talk about what Gurpatwant Pannu says about Maharashtra, about Bengal, about Punjab, about Tamil Nadu, about Kerala, and what Rahul Gandhi says about India as a union of states, you relate it. You relate it when you talk about such people who talk about India not as a single unit. People, opposition, they come out and challenge the Indian army. They ask what happened really in Balakot, what happened in Uri, what happened in parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Was the army really competent? Did the Air Force really go in?
Right.
I mean, this is what the opposition stands for, and there is a track record that you need to look at and you follow and you see and you know that these people have not been talking about United India. I'm sorry to bring a reference.
Why did he stand there and say that it was a Sikh regiment that gave the Chinese a bloody nose in Galwan? Why didn't he say that? To avenge what happened to someone from the Bihar regiment, it was a Sikh regiment that caught up there and gave those PLA
it was
troops.
Sikh regiment, it was also artillery of Sikh.
Artillery of Sikh. Yeah.
It was also Bihar. It was also Bihar regiment.
Yes.
So yes, he will not say that because they have a MOU with the Chinese CCP. So you really need to get through with the pages of the MOU as to what they signed. What is their understanding with the CCP? Unless you are clear with what their understanding with the CCP is, you'll not be able to decode correctly what is the reason of him saying what he says.
Right. Dr. Ranganathan and Ramnik Maan, please stay with me. Just want to bring another aspect to light. Now, here, this whole conversation about how do we portray our nation and leaders who are elected into parliament who have roles and responsibility, be it the Prime Minister or be it the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, how are they supposed to project themselves? Let's look at this entire Bharat versus INDI alliance or the INDIA story. Here's an explainer on the two leaders, leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What stands out or what comes out is a stark contrast between the two on how they project Bharat on foreign soil. We may have our political differences, but we have to take an unequivocal position about how we portray our nation to the world. Now, while speaking at the Cambridge University last year, Rahul Gandhi called for street justice. Rahul Gandhi said, now in a world where the media doesn't work, the way you fight is by mobilizing large numbers of people. It's difficult, it's tedious, it takes time, but that's the only way. You have to go through the street, right? That's what he said. Prime Minister Narendra Modi projected development of Bharat on foreign soil. PM Modi said Bharat is working on an unprecedented scale in education, skills, research and innovation. There was no mob justice that he spoke about. In 10 years, 2 new colleges have opened in Bharat every day. Shall I tell you more? Every week a new university has opened. Every 10th unicorn in the world is from Bharat. The total real-time digital transactions happening in the rest of the world are matched by Bharat alone. Our is moving towards a less paper, less cash, but seamless economy. That's what he says. So what is the picture that you would like to portray? Rahul Gandhi at Cambridge University said, and I quote, Americans value individual liberty, the Chinese value harmony. While PM Modi in Warsaw, in Poland, said, for us, this is not about geopolitics, but about values and traditions. Those who had no place elsewhere, Bharat gave them space in its heart and on its land. And history is rife with these stories, including that of the Parsis. Rahul in Brussels, Belgium, said, certainly there is an increase in discrimination and in violence in Bharat, in India, and there is a full-scale assault on the democratic institutions of our country that everybody is aware of. Internally in India, it's been commented on, and globally, it's been commented on. PM Modi in Russia said, we would ensure that poor women are empowered at triple the speed. Growth would be all-inclusive and nobody would be left behind in India's growth story. Rahul Gandhi in Brussels in Belgium said on the one side they are pushing this very monopolistic capitalist kind of a narrative. On the other side they are devastating the small and medium people. From where we are going to get a job, that's why we are having an unemployment crisis. PM Modi in Russia said He emphasized on India's growth story and highlighted the contribution of youth in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship. PM Modi also highlighted how India has become one of the leading nations which has provided healthcare for the poor. Rahul Gandhi in the US said that institutions worked against the opposition and he labelled the media and the judiciary as pawns of the ruling government. PM in Austria said democracy connects both our countries. Respect for liberty, equality, pluralism and the rule of law are shared values. Both our societies are multicultural and multilingual. Celebrating diversity is part of both countries' traditions. Now, who's portrayed Bharat better? And is there no responsibility on every Indian to be the right ambassador for Bharat? Dr. Ranganathan.
I have a couple of views on this.
Ji.
Number one, if one is truthful and if one stays with facts and only facts, verifiable facts, then according to me, and this is just me, one can say anything one wants. If others construe it as criticism or praise, let it be. So on American soil or any soil, if what is happening in India is great, I will portray it. If factually what is happening in India is not so great, I would say that as well. The problem is when Rahul Gandhi goes abroad and lies through his teeth and lies with every word that comes out of him. That is the problem. You want proof? Let me give you some economic parameters over the last 1 year, just 1 year. Monthly GST collections, highest ever at 2.1 lakh crores. Vehicle sales, highest ever at 4.2 million units. Exports, highest ever at $780 billion. Income tax returns, highest ever at 68 million. Foreign exchange reserves, highest ever at $675 billion. Manufacturing PMI,
Central government debt to GDP ratio at a 5-year low of 56%. Inflation at a 5-year low of 3.5%. Inequality at a 5-year low of 0.4 GB. Sensex highest ever at 83,000. Did you note any of these facts narrated by Rahul Gandhi? Even one? No. That is the issue. The issue is not that things are right or things are wrong with our country and whether one should say it. I believe one should say it.
The point is, he is lying. That is the issue, Anand.
Ramneek Man, your thoughts? You agree, disagree with Anand Ranganathan?
No, absolutely. I have been at it for about a while now. It's been years that I've been saying that, he's playing a politics of division, divisiveness, whether it's on the basis of religion, language, region, culture, caste, anything. The Congress party itself stands for something which is not in the favor of this nation. Neither what is it in 1947, 77 years down the line, they are still the same. I would like to bring a leaf from history, if you remember, that Jawaharlal Nehru actually said that if we were not to divide India and have a united India as an independent India, we'll have to wait another 20 years, and 20 years down the line, someone else will rule this country. I think the same implies on Rahul Gandhi. He wants to rule India today, whether it's a divided India like his great-grandfather or it's a united India. So he can't wait another 20 years for coming back to power. So he'll play all the cards, all the dirty tricks that there possibly can be, whether it's trying to divide Hindus versus Sikhs, whether pitting Hindus versus Muslims, or whether pitting within Hindus, within the Hindus, caste versus caste. I mean, this is something which needs to be called out, and this needs to be stopped. And this also has to happen from within the Congress. But looking at the way Congress has been functioning and working over the years, it's a party which is led by a family, not by an ideology, not by a thought. So, Rahul Gandhi, somebody opposing Rahul Gandhi from the inside will have to actually see the door out. Like many had to leave Congress party because they oppose the way Gandhis work, or they operate, or they function. So this is what Rahul Gandhi stands for. The entire Congress party, started by Hume, they do not stand for a united India, for a strong India. I also want to ask today, Anand, if the questions can be answered clearly by anyone in the Congress, including Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Anand Sharma, who was present. What was the content of the MOU that Rahul Gandhi signed with the Chinese CCP? Please make it public for everyone to see and know that it is not anti-India, it is not in favor of China, it's not against the country. So let's see where and what they stand for, because obviously by what actions he's been committing, whether inside India, inside Parliament or outside of India, do not seem to be favoring India in any which case. He's not telling the success story of India, whether, when he talks about, made in Bihar or made in Muradabad, he does not talk about what has been achieved, like Anand actually articulated very well, what has India achieved over these years. So achievements of India should be brought out in the open, where like many other Congress leaders have done in the past. So this is something, Rahul needs to turn around, and we need to call him out. Because it's a democratic country, numbers matter.
Somebody just said that perhaps is this not the biggest demonstration that there is no Tanashai or Hitlershai?
Absolutely.
That including the LOP, anybody and everybody is free to speak their mind, even if it is perhaps erring on the wrong side of facts and truth.
But he's not LOP, he's LOD, he's leader of division.
See, as I said, I don't mind, Anand, anybody criticizing or praising anything. Because let the facts be on the table. You make what you want to be of it. The fact of the matter is Rahul Gandhi will be critical of India. Development is zero. He will at the same time never mention that his favorite country, China, has demolished 1,700 mosques in the last 5 years, has interned 1 million Muslims in concentration camps, and is feeding them pork and forcibly sterile. He won't mention it, but that's the thing. But Ramneek touched on something which is very revealing. Let's talk about the psyche of Rahul Gandhi. Yes, I can admit that of those 10 or 12 facts that I rattled out, Rahul Gandhi will not even mention one. He'll say, chalo, पिछले एक साल में हुआ है. But you know what he started hating now? He's not just hating Narendra Modi. He's hating what India was 10 years ago, under him, under Congress, and what India is now. And if you give me a minute, I will reveal that to you. What is the reason for that hate? In 2014, multi-dimensional poverty as a percentage of population was 29%. Today it is 11%. India in the last 10 years has pulled out 250 million people out of multi-dimensional poverty. Rahul Gandhi will never admit that because he hates it. In 2014, our GDP per capita was $1,500. Today it is $2,500. In 2014, our foreign exchange was 300 billion. Today they are 675 billion. In 2014, the number of cities with metro was 5. Today it is 20. We had 74 airports. Today we have 148. In 2014, rail network that was electrified stood at 21,000 kilometers. Today it is 62,000 kilometers. Since 2014, we have built half the total length of highways that we built in 60 years before 2014. In 2014, our electronics exports were 7 billion. Today they are 23 billion. In 2014, our AUM of mutual funds were 9 lakh crores. Today they are 63 lakh crores. And in 2014, there were 350 startups. Today there are 118,000 startups. So Rahul Gandhi not only hates what India has achieved in the last 1 year, he absolutely detests the comparison of what India was under Congress regime and what India is right now. That is the psyche we have to understand.
Well, absolutely, and one would wonder why you would make such comments, and what is it that you would want to achieve? What is it that you are trying to project? One would want someone who is not just sworn to the Constitution but held it to their head to turn around and ask the Five Eyes nations, ask America, ask the CIA, why is it that someone who's a wanted terrorist by Bharat has not been returned to Bharat? Why is it that someone who's being allowed in the name of Sikhi does not wear a patka, does not wear a kada, does not even follow the rules of Sikhi, talks about dividing Punjab and creating a separate nation in the name of Khalistan, and talks about Khalsa? Hardeep Puri ji is with us, Union Minister. Hardeep Puri ji, Namaste, Jai Hind, and tonight I will say Sat Sri Akal, sir. Thank you very, very much. On short notice, you have given us time. This is Anand here. How would you want to respond to Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his comments that Sikhs in Bharat have to worry about wearing a turban, a kada, carry a kirpan, follow the 5 Ks or the principles, foundations of Sikhism?
Well, Anand, first and foremost, the young leader who now also happens to be the leader of opposition needs to be asked where he is getting these ideas from. I mean, this is just picking it out from somewhere. I have not come across a single case within India or outside where a member of my community has told me that he or she follows or has any difficulty in following the basic tenets of Sikhism, which means either going to a Gurdwara Sahib or wearing a turban or wearing a kada. I've never come across a single case. So here is this man on foreign soil And as leader of opposition, he just goes and makes this outlandish statement. So all I would turn around and say is that some context setting needs to be done by this young, so-called young leader.
Ji, carry on, sir. I can hear you.
No, there is a sound distortion here which needs to be checked first.
No, sir, we can hear you loud and clear, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. You're perfectly audible. You're live on the channel and we can hear you loud and clear. The other aspect is, why would he single out Sikhs and Sikhi and make this comment? He did this at Cambridge last year. He's doing it in Washington in the US.
Well, Anand, let me just say one thing. That since this issue has resonated widely, that is Mr. Gandhi's remarks on the Sikh community, saying questions are asked whether they will be able to follow the tenets, whether they'll be able to go to a Gurudwara or whether they will be able to wear a kada. I have not had a single attempt at even an explanation. Forget about a satisfactory explanation. No one has come up with anything. I mean, here is this gentleman, he sees an audience which has some members of the Sikh community and shoots off a statement. Now, the reaction to that has been strong. It is on explicable lines, and we have a situation in which he has added to the long list of not slightly silly, but these are dangerous statements. If you pick on a community which is known for its hard work, its sincerity, its contribution to the nation's agricultural economy, to the defense forces, to people who believe in Samaj Seva, Langar Seva, and who are anchored in the tradition of sacrifice, Kurbani, and you make a statement like this that they are finding it difficult. Which Sikh is he looking at? Has he come across someone who maybe is mistaken for a Sikh or something? In fact, the other way around. I think the only instance in our post-1947 history has been a case where 3,000 members of the Sikh community were killed in cold blood in 1984 when his father was the Prime Minister. And he made this outlandish statement, when a big tree falls, so, you know, the earth shakes. And then in his grandmother's time, this is another association with the Sikh religion. I mean, the armed forces the military army was sent into the Golden Temple. I have not heard any meaningful apology or regret for those actions. In fact, they made a former Prime Minister who happened to be a Sikh to say something like, there's a regret, a very feeble one. So I think the leader of opposition, I don't think he has made this statement in his capacity as leader of opposition, but he happens to be leader of opposition. He's made a statement which is irresponsible, which deserves to be condemned in the strongest possible term, and an explanation is required at the very least as to why he makes an assertion of this kind.
Sir, I know time is of essence. My final question to you. You're also a career diplomat along with being an astute politician and a minister in the union government. He's done this in the US, whose citizen is a wanted terrorist for us, who's running a secessionist agenda against Bharat. Would you want to read perhaps deeper, further meaning in what Mr. Rahul Gandhi has done today?
You know, I can tell you that I would be inclined at the best of times not to make an intellectual hop, step and jump and move from what he has said to what you are saying. That, you know, there is a wanted person who espouses a separatist cause and who doesn't wear a turban. I would not want to make that, but those inferences are going to be drawn because the kind of language he uses is the kind of language that particular gentleman is often inclined to use. So, yes, that inference will be drawn. Whether that's a correct inference, I don't know, but the only explanation can come from Mr. Gandhi himself as to why he made this statement. And let me also say, he is on US soil. There is a history of these things here. I mean, it's in close proximity to another country where this cause has been espoused by a I would say, fringe elements, and I call them lunatic fringe. I mean, I don't think the Sikhs have had it as good in today Modi ji's India as ever. Today I can tell you all the demands of the Sikhs, whether they are agriculture based in the MSP pricing as farmers, or greater representation for them. The Sikhs are proud members of the armed forces. They have risen to the highest position in the judiciary, in all other walks of life. So you have a situation like this, and I think for him to let loose a diatribe against the RSS, I mean, the RSS came to our rescue when we were being brutally targeted. Weigh each word he uses and also look at the consequences, intended and unintended, which are likely to follow.
Hardeep Puri ji, thank you very, very much. Another thing that we love about Sikhs, then they make a commitment, they honor it, no matter what and how much you're pressed for time. I really, really appreciate you making the time to speak with us here this evening. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Anandji. Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
On that note, we're going to call it a wrap here on this edition of The Right Stand. Zaka Jacob with Brass Tacks up next.
Co-powered by
Sena. UBT has already targeted BJP. Priyanka Chaturvedi has said, imagine if his father was not the president of the state BJP and his surname wasn't Bhavan Khule, but Thackeray or Pawar, and you would have the entire BJP frothing and outraging. Now, a party capable of building fake narrative on their opposition is now silent when it comes to own. Besharam Jhuti party is the comment coming in from Shiv Sena UBT's Priyanka Chaturvedi, where she's taken yet another dig at BJP and targeted them, suggesting that imagine if his father was not the president of the state BJP and his surname wasn't Bhavan Khule but Thackeray or Pawar, you would have the entire BJP frothing and outraging a party capable of building fake narrative on their opposition. Well, joining us for better input and details on this is Yasha. Yasha, what is the BJP's response to Priyanka Chaturvedi's allegations that we've gotten so far?
So yes, in fact, as of now, BJP has not responded to this allegations level at Priyanka Chaturvedi. But when we speak of Priyanka Chaturvedi's tweet, she's clearly questioned about how if Sanket Bhavankule's father was not the president, and if it was someone belonging from an opposition party, the ruling party would have gone ahead and in fact built a fake narrative. This is the kind of stance that we've seen Priyanka Chaturvedi put forth. And this, in fact, when we speak of this very case, it comes in amidst the fact that over the last couple of months, there have been several cases of accidents that have been reported in the state of Maharashtra. In fact, it all started with Pune Porsche drunk driving case, wherein the name of wherein one of the prominent post builders' son was involved, and the name of one of the MLAs from NCP Agitwa faction had also come to force. So amidst all of this, when we speak of several such hit and run cases that are being reported in the state of Maharashtra, of course, in this case, when we speak of the case, it's not a hit and run case, but there were several allegations at a level when it comes to Pune Porsche case also, stating that the MLA in this case was being shielded. Now here again, of course, though we've heard Bhavan Khule speak about how there will be no involvement, or there will be no political pressure, undue pressure that will be put on the police machinery. In fact, that a proper course of investigation would be followed. But questions here, of course, are being raised by the opposition leaders, be it Priyanka Chaturvedi or be other opposition leaders, right from Congress to, in fact, even Shiv Sena Uddhav Bharat Thackeray faction. All of them have said that in this case, if it was someone belonging to Mahavikas Aghadi, which means from the NCP Sharad Pawar faction or from the Shiv Sena Uddhav Bharat Thackeray faction, there'd be a false narrative that could have been that could have been built around this entire case. But here, because it is the son of the state chief, is where the mechanism will be used to shield Sanket Bhavankulee. Yes.
Now we are cutting across to another breaking input and shifting our focus to Maharashtra, where an Audi car hit 2 to 3 cars in Nagpur this morning. Now, investigation revealed that the Audi car was in the name of the son of Maharashtra's BJP president, Sanket Bhavankulee, and police have seized the Audi car and has detained the 2 people. Now, these are the latest inputs that we are getting from the ground, where an Audi car has hit 2 to 3 cars in Nagpur this morning, and investigations revealed that the Audi car was owned or in the name of the son of Maharashtra BJP's president, Sanket Bhavankulee. Police have already seized the